Today I have got literally perhaps one of the best fragrances I have ever smelled, period. I am not being hyperbolic, and perhaps one of the worst that I've ever smelled. So I've got some information to give you about Dupes fragrances today. This is going to be, I think, a very interesting video, and even more interesting, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. What has been your experience with Dupes fragrances, especially one of the two or both of the ones I'm going to talk about today? Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and why not give a rage click to the like button if you like the video. Let's go ahead and begin. So let me just say straight up, I bought these two Dupes fragrances after years of knowing about them and thinking that they're just too expensive, and so I literally rage bought these two fragrances. I'm talking about this one right here, which is their take on Cologne single malt. This is called Spiritus Day. And the reason that I bought it is because it is a boozy plum fragrance, largely considered to be one of the best plum fragrances ever created. And I love the note of plum. It is becoming one of my favorite notes in all of fragrance. It's still one that's not incredibly prolific, but it is one of my favorites. And you're seeing more plum fragrances come out, and you're seeing more people talk about plum. And I also bought this one right here, which is Dupes' take on Bond Number 9 Andy Warhol, just straight Andy Warhol. This one is called Iconic. And why did I buy this one? Well, I bought it because it is a plum-focused fragrance. It's largely considered to be one of the best plum fragrances available. Of course, I'm talking about the Bond Number 9 Original. And so, yes, I rage bought a couple of Dupes fragrances, and I have heard, I've seen the chatter online that what usually happens with Dupes is you spray the fragrances, you let them sit for 2 to 4 weeks, let them macerate, let them develop, let the fragrance alcohol break down the fragrance oils, and then you have a different experience 2 to 4 weeks later. And so I get it, but I do want to tell you, first impressions, and I've had these for 3 days, and I've been wearing them a lot. I'm having a hard time wearing anything else. Let me just go ahead and say this one right here, Spiritus Day, is unequivocally one of the best fragrances that I have ever smelled in my entire life, period. I literally sprayed this on the day that I got it, and as soon as before I ever even put it up to my nose, I sprayed 3 sprays on my right arm, and you know, from like 2 feet away, it hit me, and I just said, whoa. And I literally got goosebumps on my arms. I thought about whipping the camera out and just taking a shot. I mean, it is one of the most impressive, wow, blow your mind fragrances. I can literally smell it right now with the lid on, just waving it around. There is something so intoxicating, alluring, impressive, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, sweet, very three-dimensional, very, it smells like a $200 fragrance like the Cologne. I've never smelled the original. I want to say that about both of these. I am rating these based on their own merits, not based upon their nearness to the original DNA. And so I just want to say right off the bat, this one right here, Spiritus Day, is immediately in my top 10 fragrances that I own, period. This one, on the other hand, Icon. This one's supposed to be Andy Warhol from Bond Number 9. I don't like it, but you know, I don't know. I mean, there's one note, one accord in it that I hate, just to be totally honest with you. But there's also some elements that I love, and you know, that I wish this one accord would just sort of fade, and then the sort of plum element obviously would really take over. And so I want to tell you more about my experience with these fragrances. I'm going to start with the one that I love, and I am not exaggerating, guys. I bought these. They are expensive. They are extrait de parfum, so maybe they're worth it, but If you catch a sale, you're going to pay about $40 for each of these, and they are 30 ml. That is a lot of money. You're probably going to pay shipping. There's also specials where you can get free shipping. So I don't know. I have not bought Dua for years. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. You've got Zoha, where you're going to get 50 ml for about the same price. So with Dua, yes, they're extrait de parfum. Yes, they have a really good reputation, but it took me a long time to actually buy one of these fragrances. However, let me just tell you, this fragrance right here, this stuff it's intoxicating. I want to spray 20 sprays on my body, but the deal is, with a fragrance that is this strong, all I would accomplish is cause myself to go nose blind so that I can't experience the fragrance at all. And so I've been wearing about 4 sprays, and that is absolutely enough. Let me tell you the notes in this fragrance, because it is so absolutely impressive. It's a pretty simple note breakdown, actually. You've got plum, wheat, plum in the top, wheat in the mid. You've got vanilla, tolu balsam, and cedar in the base. So a very simple note breakdown, but let me just tell you, something about this fragrance has absolutely captivated me. The plum. This is the best plum note I have ever smelled. And I would say Zoha Aroma's take on Plum Japonais, which is a discontinued fragrance that's very hard to find unless you want to go to eBay and pay 4 times what it's probably worth. This is probably the best plum note I've ever smelled. The one that I'm talking about from Zoha is called Wild Plum, and it's very, very good, but it's very different from this one. It's more of a boozy, very kind of sparkly oud plum with a good bit of sweetness. It's just different. It's a little more like overload on the fruity aspect of plum. Man, it's hard to compare the two. They are different, but they both have this gorgeous, just blow your mind plum note. This one, I can't even tell you from the note breakdown, other than the plum and the vanilla and the cedar, those are the things that really make the fragrance. I don't know how wheat affects this fragrance. There's nothing necessarily in this that I would say, oh, that's a wheat note. Even the tolu balsam, it's described as musky, ambery, animalic. Now, I will say that Dua's version of this fragrance does have single malt whiskey with plum, wheat absolute, cedar, vanilla, and tolu balsam. And this does have a certain kind of booziness mixed with, and it's quite a rich, like whiskey note. And that very sweet plum and that cedar, a very kind of sweet, realistic cedar note. Words just don't really do it justice. I'm just telling you, if you like the note of plum and you can handle something with a touch of booziness, this is one of the most impressive, one of the most shocking, incredible fragrances that I've ever smelled, period. And, I just wish that I could douse myself in it without making myself go anosmic. Spiritus Day by Dua, this stuff is phenomenal, period. All right, let's go to this next one right here. This one's a little bit of a disappointment because I was so excited. Everybody talks about how Andy Warhol is, the most impressive plum fragrance. Those who love plum love this fragrance, but there's a certain way that oud rose can come across to me that I don't think it comes across this way to other people, but to me, it can come across fecal. Something about this fragrance comes across a little bit sewage to me, and that's a big disappointment because I have a hard time wearing it. It's like this almost like baby wipes kind of, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's more baby wipes because I've got 4 kids and my youngest is 3. So I've been in baby wipes fecal territory for about the past 12 years. So maybe it's more of a baby wipes kind of a smell with a little bit of fruitiness. I mean, there is a plum fruitiness and sweetness, And I wanna recant a little bit. I think it is more baby wipes than fecal. I think that that's more accurate. And sometimes rose in and of itself can give me a little bit of that. Rose can come across very pungent. And I will tell you, if I had one word to describe this fragrance, I would say pungent is the way that I would describe it. Pungent, like baby wipes, yet fruity sweetness and rose, and you know, a little bit of kind of, there's also some frankincense or olibanum, there's musk, there's vanilla, there's patchouli, there's jasmine, and I'm getting sort of like a pungent rose, you know, the frankincense, which can come across kind of like a sweet, soapy kind of a smell, just barely. So I don't know, guys, somebody's got to help me out. Is this a way that Andy Warhol from Bond Number 9 is sometimes perceived? I don't know. I don't get it. I'm going to spray it again just on a tester strip. It's a little better off paper than it is on my skin, so maybe it's a body chemistry thing. And it is one of those things, there are many pungent fragrances that grow on me. And rose is one of those notes, almost like oud, that can come across so funky or so pungent, or it can come across very kind of alluring and sexy and rich and deep and dark. But I'm going to need to hear from some of you whether Andy Warhol has sometimes come across as pungent, even to the point of almost being like baby wipes. So, you know, this could totally be me. I mean, listen, I could be way off here. You know, I just got over being sick a few weeks ago. Maybe it's me. Maybe it needs to macerate for a couple weeks. But I would just tell you, if I had it to do over again, I would not buy this fragrance at all. I would probably buy another bottle of Spiritus Day because it's the most amazing thing I've ever smelled. So I'd love to hear from you about Andy Warhol from Bond Number 9. A couple things I'll mention about Dua fragrances. One is, you know, the packaging is pretty simple, but pretty nice because I actually reuse these things. You do get a nice little pouch that your 30 ml is going to fit in nicely. It's going to keep it from busting if you're going to throw it in a bag whenever you travel. It's not going to bang against other glass things and break. So it's nice. It's, you know, I guess you could say kind of cheaply made, but velvet, soft, and it's going to get the job done. Another thing that I'll mention, and this one is, it's just the truth, but whenever I spray this one on, my favorite, immediately top 10 fragrances that I own, man, it is disappointing that I get some skin irritation for real. I'm telling you, wherever I spray this, I get a splotch of red skin, and it feels a little irritated. It's not overboard, I don't blister, I don't get a full-blown rash, but it'll get a little irritated, it'll get, you know, a slight bit itchy for about 20 minutes and then it goes away. Now I do get that, like for instance with some generic perfumes fragrances, I've told you guys that I do get some skin irritation. So this is not incredibly uncommon, especially with an extrait de parfum. Very powerful oil concentration, and that may be all that it is. Maybe I have more sensitive skin. There could be an element of I spray so many fragrances on my body through the course of a week that maybe I have caused my immune system to react more than the normal person. But I'll tell you straight up, I do get some red splotchy skin from these fragrances, and I want to mention that because if you have sensitive skin, there's a good possibility you could get that as well. A way that I've been getting around that, I've been spraying it on the back of my head, kind of in my hair, and it doesn't bother me at all. And then of course you can also spray it on the sleeve of your shirt, but being such a intense oil concentration, just be careful because you don't want to stain your clothes with an oil stain that will not wash out. So I wanted to mention those couple things as well in the realm of presentation and also the potential for some skin irritation. So that's pretty much my thoughts. I really want to hear from you guys down in the comments section. I want to ask you to consider giving an absolutely dual click to the like button and also subscribe to the channel. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents.